Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Nightcap Knowledge. My name is George Chuck Patterson. I'm here with my co-host, Mac Epps. Mr. Mac is what they called him. Man, look, let me tell y'all, we're going to have some fun tonight. It's going to be a bit different. We're not going to have a guest. It's going to be all about Nightcap Knowledge. And I hope that all of our Nightcappers will still tune in and join in with us during this visioning process. So tune in, tap in, share this with somebody. We're going to craft our vision live, the journey of dreaming and planning and building Nightcap Knowledge, and we might get into some other stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., Nightcap Knowledge. Played that for real. Yeah, you thought I played that for real. Oh, you gotta unmute yourself, Mr. Epps.
So I had tapped it, and I thought it was so hard to do this and not move my feet. It's like I had the foot pedal going, buddy. That right leg is strong. The right leg, the right foot is strong, yes, sir. Hey, man, what? I can't hear you, Chuck. What'd you say? Now you muted yourself.
Yeah. You must have
Oh,
left for-
this is gonna be a show. This is gonna be a show right here.
You know what?
What'd you say?
I'm gonna try some.
What you want to
Taking
try?
you out of my ears. Yeah,
Oh,
see if we can get that.
right. Nobody knows, only us.
How about now? I still hear myself echoing. Okay. We're gonna work it out. It's gonna work out one day.
I use one, so
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, George Chuck.
I'm trying to see if I
For
can hear
everybody
myself
that's
echo.
for everybody that's
Yeah.
watching us, welcome to Nightcap Knowledge. This show is rated black and uncensored, real talk, real issues, real solutions. And we're gonna tell it like a TIE is, even if we talk about how our technology is not performing to the best of its capabilities. Back to
Hey.
you, Chuck.
Well, look, Mac. So, this is what we're gonna do.
What we're gonna do?
We're going to, as best we can, uh, in a live process, we're going to take tonight because typically we're talking with a person. right? And we're talking with a person about what they have going on and the plans that they've put in place for themselves, right? A lot of times as business owners, brands, and for everybody that's tapped in, please let us know where you're chiming in from or where you're tuning in from. We definitely love to have your feedback or your comments and things like that. What we're doing tonight, and I threw it up on the on-screen graphic for us. We're going to craft your vision, and I got some questions that I'm going to ask you, and I will also answer. And we will have this live journey of dreaming, planning, and building Nightcap Knowledge. Because we typically don't have time to do this outside of Nightcap Knowledge, I thought it was great thinking and a great opportunity to take the time to do this live. So I'm going to throw this banner up to let everybody know exactly what we're doing. We are crafting our vision of Nightcap Knowledge live on Nightcap Knowledge. How do you feel about that, Mac? This is Mac's first time hearing this, and there's nothing that he can do about it. It's 73 people that's watching, and he has to participate.
Hey, so let me tell you, everybody's ever been in radio or TV or any type of podcast. Uh, they say the show must go on. So a lot of times you never really know. The goal is never to let the audience or people watching know about what's impromptu. So this is part of what Chuck talking about like today. It's a transparent, and you learn to go with whatever it is. Or you know what I'm saying? If you were in the band, if you played a sport, if you was doing a step show, you just go with what they're already going. You don't let the crowd know that they did something wrong or out of place. You just go with it. And so what we're doing here is actually just kind of putting it out there and engaging the everybody's watching as we kind of get feedback, from each other about what we need to do or what's better, right? Because the goal is always evolution and to get to a better spot. So, let's. Oh, hey, before we get started, what you drinking?
I am drinking Maker's Mark tonight.
So, are you familiar with this?
That looks like Basil Hayden.
It is not.
What is that?
Travelers.
Travelers. I can't see it. I'm sorry. It's
Okay,
a
so
Basil Hayden
Travelers,
bottle. Tell me about it.
it is it is Buffalo Trace. It's coming from Buffalo Trace Distillery. It
Okay.
is Chris Stapleton's, and it's a 90 proof whiskey. It says kind of really it's a light and a smooth blend. So
Mm-hmm.
my first time trying it, and big shout out to the legend Larry Lincoln Leggett Obama.
I'm with it. God dog,
All
boy.
right,
You tell me how that tastes, man. That thing. I'm gonna leave that like that. Mr. Mac tasting Travelers for the first time live on Nightcap Knowledge.
hmm. And saying them old Western, there's some good drinking whiskey here, that boy. Some good drinking whiskey.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, I like it.
All right, so Mac, I'm gonna get you started on our first question.
Oh shit, there's a
And
map in the back. My bad.
there's a map.
Yeah, like when you look through the bottle
Oh, okay.
on the other side on the
That's neat.
label,
Yeah.
it really. You're right. I'm about to get off subject. I'm about to talk about 19 crimes. I like how you have
The
surprises
detail.
on bottles, the detail. Yeah. So go ahead, Chuck. Go what you got?
All right. Our first thing we're going to talk about envisioning impact.
Hmm.
And you don't have to close your eyes or anything, but I want you to imagine the world that you want to create through our work with Mississippi Move and specifically or most specifically the work that we do through this podcast. What changes do you see as a result of us broadcasting now 188 episodes. And describe the ripple effect that our podcast will have on individuals, communities, and our society as a whole.
That's a loaded ass question. I just want to put that out there first. That's a loaded.
So
Very, 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 very loaded. Uh,
you
so the
think so?
first question, I think yeah, because you kept adding to the question because I can just talk off of one thing. Um, I think the first thing you asked about how we affect our society. You asked,
Imagine the world you
what was
want to create through our podcast. I'll shorten it up.
all right, so there we go. All right, so a conscious group of folks that are themselves and okay with other folks being themselves, and that are understanding that we must be civically engaged, and that we must and part of our civic engagement is educating each other, educating others, and also coming up with a physical plan to do something about it. Our podcast is action oriented. It's just not talking about what's hot and talking about it, complaining. We are planning. We a lot of times we talk about an issue and telling folks, "Hey, this is what's going on here related to this issue." And a lot of times we are involved in that, whether it be whatever hat we may be wearing. We are involved in bringing it to action. And I think that the ripple effect is going to be that the larger we get, the more people we reach. We are going to start to reach those folks that have that same mindset. So several years ago when I stepped in as social action director for our grad chapter, I told at that time,
Yeah.
which was Cheney, and I told him, I said, if we want to get men that are work, they first must see men that are working.
Hmm.
So if you have a reputation of being a grad chapter that's getting out there and you out there deep with your boots on and you in the community doing this, that, and the third, you're going to attract men that like, that's what I want to do. I want to be action oriented. I want to do that. I want to get involved.
Shout out to
What
Marcus
up,
Banks.
Marcus? So we attract people like that, right? That's one of them right there. Marcus just jumped on here, right? Go getters, folks that really want it. They see folks working and they want to be a part of what folks doing. We don't have a lot of Easter speeches. I think that's one of the things that ripple effect is going to do. It's going to start folks to want to find people that want to be action oriented and be involved in change, to be a part of history and doing the things that needs to be done in our community. So I don't know if I tackled everything. Did I leave something out?
No, I think you put a lot into it. Uh, yeah, I think I want to so we can not have this echo because it's distracting. I know you don't hear it, it's distracting for me. Um, I
Oh, I
think
was telling you earlier. That's why, like if I go to the radio station, I don't wear headsets.
if I don't wear headsets, I can't hear you.
I know I'm saying that's why I don't wear headsets because hearing myself
Mm,
distracts me.
Me hearing me say what I'm saying isn't distracting for me. Me hearing me saying what I'm saying after I said it is distracting for me.
That's what I'm saying. What we saying the same thing is that it's certain things that once it's in your ear, it can throw you off. That's why I say I understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
It can be distracting. It is distracting from you because you can't not unhear it. It's right there in your ear. So you're gonna it's gonna always mess you up.
Yeah.
Uh I don't know, and because yours is going you don't have a speaker, right?
No.
You can
If I
then
have
you
a
can run
speaker,
your
the house gonna hear it.
oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I tested it out with the TV. I tested it out with. So what I
Mm.
want to see for our podcast, I'm gonna mute you while I say this. Um, I would like to see us having production people, somebody that can be behind the scenes. Um, and the only thing that I have to do is be a host for this one or assist with the pre-production planning for Nightcap Knowledge. That's the world that I want to create for us, where we have you have a full set, I have a full set. We can wherever we go, we have mobile setups. We can have people to join in with us. So that means, let's say, if you wanted to have a guest locally with you, and I wanted to have that same type of situation, you've got that equipment. I've got that equipment. You have a baseline understanding of um what to do, like the ins and the outs, like you know how to do that. Having the I see some of the work that crosses over, like we're talking about digital equity. I see us as a platform, Nightcap Knowledge, Black with No Chaser, Mississippi Move, and all of the work that we do and the cross sections therein. I see us um providing more opportunities for understanding around what digital equity means. Meaning that if I live in this particular zip code, not only does my zip code denote or dictate the level of success that I might be able to obtain, it also will let you know the disadvantages in terms of digital access that I might encounter. Meaning that if I live in 39211 versus 39213 or 17, um, my level of access to internet is much different. So I think the digital equity part of what we do and how information is consumed and also how information is broadcasted. I think we play a huge role, or we will play a huge role in providing that level of understanding to folks that have high speed internet, and connect the dots between the folks that have it and shine a light on the folks that don't have it. Come on in.
So it's funny. That's why we had these, as Chuck would say, a banter. Literally, literally, a majority, 90% of everything that you see us do, from Yard Boy to Mississippi Move, I got it made. It started by us somewhere talking and having a drink and doing exactly what we're doing now. So what Chuck just described to you guys and everybody that's listening is directly connected to what we are talking about for civic engagement.
Yeah.
You being involved in voting and electing people, like when I guessed as a public service commissioner, job is to hold folks accountable to make sure that internet broadband is distributed to the amount where it's equity is based on equity, that everybody has what they need for the area that they're in, and that's directly connected. So understanding this, if you don't think your vote matters and you don't like the way your internet is streaming, you don't like why your bill is high, you
Right.
don't like the way your water is poor, then you are setting yourself up for failure and you are not doing the things you need to do to make it change, because it's directly connected. Everybody that's in power, that has capacity over the people that run those different entities and agencies, is someone that's elected. And it's kind of like what came first, the chicken and the egg. For us to be able to reach more people, we need better internet quality. And sometimes for us to get better internet quality, we got to elect better people for us to be
Yeah.
able to get that internet quality. So we tell folks, like we start off the beginning of the year talking about being self-focused, and that's what we're saying about selfish, but self-focused. How does this benefit you? It directly benefits you by making sure you make a great choice in who represents you and make sure that your voice and vote is heard. Also, your money.
Mm-hmm.
Spend your money where you have a voice, and that makes a big difference. Because if you don't believe that, then pull your resources together and let 10 of y'all intentionally stop spending money at a certain area, and you see if that gets attention. Um, that's where I see us being able to grow to the point where someone's going to watch us and say, hey, as we grow, we're going to find some resources, we're going to find some funding, we're going to find some money, we're going to be able to have better quality technology and products and and setups, so that we can have a better showing podcast, so that we can reach more people, so that we can continue the same message to be able to get folks to be engaged, involved, and we can go back and show somebody and say, hey, this is what we looked like before we was able to reach folks and get to the next level. But our message stays consistent. And even when we did not have the best of technology, going back to the mental health minute, there's no reason to give up. There's no
Absolutely not.
reason. Perseverance. I don't care if you got a whole one leg and a piece of aluminum foil, whatever you got to do, you do it. There's no reason to give up. Always keep fighting. Keep your feet moving. Keep swinging. So, what's the next question?
Yeah, bro. So I think we kind of we started digging into the ripple effect that our podcast can have on individuals, communities, and our society. And I think we're talking about society as the state of Mississippi because Mississippi is our focus. That's not to say that we're not concerned about Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia. That's not to say that like these are all places that we feel very connected to. The ripple effect is exactly what Matt kind of describes. So I'm not going to belabor that point. Um, I think we also started to talk about how we can contribute to larger conversations and movements. Uh, the larger conversation is we're looking at a civically engaged and a truly connected Mississippi, meaning that the nonprofits and the charities they know where the businesses are, the community are quote unquote, from a capitalist playbook. The consumers know where the businesses are. The consumers know that um they can enact their dollar to impact companies and community organizations or charities or nonprofits. So that's definitely how we're contributing to this larger conversation because if there's a Mac and a Chuck in North Mississippi and they got 2 or 3 thousand people or 2 or 300 people that are tapping into this conversation that they have in every week, that means that people are gathering. That means that information is being disseminated. The thing that we have to make sure is that the type of information that we don't want to just say some crap. We want to speak truth. We want to provide information that is valuable, that is also factual, and that is going to inspire somebody to action. So I appreciate you for laying that out for us. I think moving on to the next question or the next prompt that I kind of developed for us is more so about continuing to inspire that transformation. So I want you, Mac, to reflect on the power of storytelling to spark empathy, understanding, and action. How can we harness this power with nightcap knowledge?
Uh, so I've applied for different salesman positions before, and believe it or not, I'm not a salesman, right? I'm not. I can talk about things and push things that I'm really into and what I believe. And I think when you start talking about the art of storytelling, um, if it's something that's meaning dear to you that you really believe in, um, it's going to be genuine and it's going to have a bigger impact on rehearse better than rehearsed speech,
Hmm.
right? It's going to be something that if something that well, Chuck believes in this and Chuck can talk about it. I think having those stories and just like we how we pick out the guests and folks we want to come on, it's something that we really do. believe in and that we live and that we push, so we can talk about it. We can be able to tell the story, and things that you're into. And people say, "Oh man," somebody might say, "You should talk about this." Yeah, I can just talk about it, but that's not something that
Yeah.
you're into. That's not something that you're gonna be like. Literally, me talking about this whiskey because I was like, man, the bottle's intriguing. It for somebody that's into that, and that's what I'm saying. I got into it. I started researching. I read about it. It's like I can talk about it. You can tell the story of
Yeah.
something that you're into. I think that stand. We always talk about staying in your lane, uh,
Find your groove.
staying with your niche, find your groove, right? You know, practice your scope.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, that's where you stay, right? And you can have a lot of knowledge about a lot of other things, but what is your thing? That's where we are. We stick to what's our thing. Um, and yeah, our show can be very entertaining, but one of our main focuses is not entertainment, it's more of knowledge and sharing and engaging and talking about stories that need to be heard. A lot of our stories are local, and we want to talk about things for people that you might not hear. And it's something that can be relatable when something happens to someone in the family.
Yeah.
Something might have happened to one of our family members, or uh, might have happened to somebody we know. Something did happen to one of my family members, and we talked about it on the podcast. I mean, so I think sticking to that, where people can see the genuineness and understand why we are saying what we're saying, and that we're truly passionate about what we're talking about, and that's going to help create that ripple effect also, and get more folks to want to be engaged. Because that's what we say. We're talking about real talk. It's
Yeah.
not what's popular. It's not what's trending right now on social media, unless it's something impactful to our community or our
Yeah.
people.
And Mac, you jogged my memory about something just before we got on. I got a message from Deatrice. Deatrice, she was informing me that one of our Tougaloo brothers has transitioned to be with the ancestors, and I definitely wanted to take the time to acknowledge uh, this brother. His name is Les Bridges, and his funeral was Saturday. And the I guess the reason why, of course, like with it being in the Tougaloo family, uh, Dietrich wanted to make sure that that I knew, one, because he was one of my students, as was Dietrich. With me being a staff member over student activities at Tougaloo for 3 years, and then moving over to the Health and Wellness Center for the next 7 years of my career at Tougaloo. But Les was one of those guys that uh he always had a question, but the question came with a smile. And I definitely wanted to take the time to recognize this brother because Mac Dietrich told me something that and I'm gonna read it so I don't misquote her. Um and shout out to the Village Kitchen, Dietrich Johnson, catering manager from the Village Kitchen, one of our consistent community partners, one of our business partners, people that we call on regularly from Mississippi Move to assist us with providing for people that need support, whether that be our Tougaloo students, whether it be people in the various uh, disaster situations that we respond to. The Village Kitchen in Tougaloo, Mississippi, is definitely one of the places that we frequent with our support, whether it be presence or uh, our dollar. So she messaged me tonight and she asked me, did I make Les Bridges Letterman jacket? And I said yes. It was Mo and my design and Mo's stitching. I sourced the garment and made the design for the Tougaloo Letterman jacket, and she said that the brother was buried in the jacket. You talking about not a suit, not he didn't get buried in Ralph Lauren, or I don't know what he had on in terms of like a tie or anything under that. But that's special, man. I mean, for a person that makes things for people, for someone to say that I want to be buried in this, but it also points out the importance of community, which is really what Nightcap Knowledge is. Nightcap Knowledge it's an extension of Tougaloo. It's an extension of Renner Hall. It's an extension of Berkshire Cottage. It's an extension of New Women's AA branch, Judson Cross. This show is kind of like the conversations that we would have, outside of the dorm room or inside the dorm room or on the steps of the dormitory or in the co-op, right? So the reason, and I got to put them up here one more time. Uh, so God rest his soul, Les Bridges, Tougalooing, and may his spouse find peace and perseverance on this side of glory, as the ancestors would say, as the old folk would say, the folk that sit at the front of the church. Um, Peace and perseverance to his entire family. So, uh, cheers to the life of Les Bridges. Uh, let me take a sip of that. Now, Mac, it looked like you were about to jump in on something as I was talking. You got to unmute yourself. You muted yourself that time.
So I guess so I watched, and I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of golden classes, for us the work that we do with Tulu,
Hmm.
and to see them come back for 50 years and how they just so energetic, right?
Yeah,
For
man.
and they excited and they happy to see each other and they still, to see folks, people that are established and some of your who's talk about the other person who did this. Do you remember when you did that? And it's we talk
I
about
love
also
it,
about
man.
legacy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and those connectivities, and you finding out that there's so many different relationships that was formed and it lasted for 50 years. Um, and they definitely want to highlight those who are not there and keep things going. Um,
Shout out
Louis
to Howard
Francis
Sanders.
Jackson
That's
was
two
such a
galore right there.
yes, sir, yes, sir. And we talk about those special places, right? At one point in time, I didn't like the name, but people were referring to Tougaloo as that. That was something they had, but like I understood the meaning. But it's always going to be the best description is where history meets the future. And for us, celebrating 20 years and watching folks celebrating 50 years, it keeps
Yeah.
you inspired. But it understands it's like the connection of a real community, how you touch these different lives and you don't realize how many lives you've touched and the impact you had. And you're like, well, man, I just did this, I just did that. And you don't realize how much it meant to that person
Yeah.
when you did that, right? And how they looked at it. So that's when you talk about taking your time and putting your energy into a craft and doing something that you will want and giving it to somebody or whatever the case may be. You never know what it means to them, right?
Yeah.
So we've had just like with the radio show when I was with Stamps, we would have folks that never would call in, and you would see them, and they would tell you about, I really enjoyed it. That really helped me. I want to know more about it. They never said anything. And it's the same thing we've had with Nightcap, where folks like, man, I really enjoyed the podcast. I really enjoyed. Hey, I want to, I'm interested in learning more about this and learning more about that. It's thought provoking to the point where if you
Yeah.
truly interested and you say, you know what, let me go research this. Let me go find out more about this. Let me go find out more about that. And you know, I lost my fight. Right, my goal was try to get my child to go to Tupac, because I know the benefits of going to a smaller black college and
Yeah.
forming those strong relationships. But We still might have won one battle, right? And as you're looking at Hudson Tellis, which is a
Houston
small
Tilson.
private black college. Well, I'm pronouncing it how they pronounced it, so I don't know what the hell it
Ooh,
is. I just know the school. Don't worry about it. But because I thought it was Houston myself, and then when somebody else pronounced it different, hey, I don't know anything about the school. I'm just gonna listen to you, right? I'm just gonna listen to. But anyway, semantics in the words of Pete Scott. We just gonna keep riding, right? The whole point in the words of Pete. Right. So that's hopefully you create the same type of environment and that's the same energy. We can only speak to the school we went to
yeah,
and the experiences we had, right?
yeah,
Everybody has that same experience, which is the same thing about this podcast. Everybody gonna have a different experience. You watch another podcast, you gonna get a different experience, and then you know what's for you. It fits you. Some things didn't fit some people. Some people left Tuvalu. Some people left other places and came to Tuvalu. Like, man, you know what? I wouldn't mind going here. Next thing you know, they done transferred, right? They had Tuvalu, right? Some
right,
people like, I'm looking for a little bit whatever, and then they leave.
yeah,
It's about what fits you, and I think that's is continue to um, stay genuine in doing what we're doing and making it people focused and people centered, um, and continue to push what we're talking about and feedback and getting more information for folks. Um, but I did not know about that, brother. It's been so much happen. Um, so since you said that, Chuck, um, also we have another brother for us for Sigma.
who
Uh,
was that?
uh, our, and it's crazy thing about it. I thought about this when I heard we have a frat brother named Hollis. I think Hollis crossed like uh, 82 Alcorn.
Okay,
Um, he stayed right around the corner from us here out South Jackson. He has a son named after him that went to Alcorn that was in the band. He transitioned. He's going to the medical chapter now. But he's one of those guys that every time you went to the yard or anything, when you saw him, Chuck, every
yeah,
frat got one, three or four. He's always talking about Alcorn and frat. That's it. Alcorn and frat. His school and his frat.
yeah,
Um, and you would see him at the gas station and be there for 45 minutes talking to him, right? And so he transitioned. So continue, as you said, peace and perseverance to his family as we continue to work on putting something together to highlight him. He definitely was one of those brothers that liked social gatherings and be around the frat and
uh-huh,
create that. So we want to give a shout out and understand that we, check on folks, man. Just, we need to check on our people, touch bases with them. They cross your mind, um, check on them. And man, gosh, uh, so I know some of my cousins are on Facebook. Um, so definitely a shout out to my family in Iowa. My cousin George Epps Jr., Josette, they they lost their mother, my aunt Stella,
mm-hmm,
transition in Waterloo, and so we definitely want to continue to keep them in our prayers. You met my uncle Buddy.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
you met
but
George. You met George, right? So that it was his wife that transitioned. Um, so we definitely continue to keep them in our prayers. So that's what we say. What is the different about our show? We talk about stuff that matters to us. It's family oriented and highlighting others and bringing attention to others that might not have access to a platform like this. Uh, and hopefully our platform get bigger so we can be able to reach more people, so we can tell them more about people they might not know about and some of the accomplishments and things that happen. And we might be able
no,
to do the
I
same
ain't
thing
know.
for them.
Hopefully, it will. Our
Gonna happen.
platform,
It's go.
our
It's
platform
gonna
will be
happen.
bigger.
Ten
Yeah,
times fold. 10 times fold. Anybody out there with us in the nightcap lane, any nightcappers out there, believe that this thing is gonna grow 10 times fold. Let me see a 10. Drop a 10 in the comments, right? We're gonna make this thing grow 10 times fold. If you down with us, let's make this thing grow. Because sometimes it's about putting your hands on the plow and making it happen. You got to work while you wait, and that's what we got to
and
do.
shout out to some of the folks that um have have lended their platform to us to to collaborate, to connect, to build bridges between the the institutions and the businesses and indubitably, Sanice, we appreciate you dropping your 10x in the comments. Um, because that's what we're about. We're about fostering connection and community. Like for real. Uh we want to create space. And Nightcap Knowledge has it has been a space for voices, as Mac described, that typically don't get, they don't have access. And this is, everybody's not podcasting, everybody's not live streaming. Um it's not something that I want us to take for granted. It's something that I I do believe that we need to get more people in it, because communication, storytelling is a big part of information and misinformation. And if we continue to allow some of our elected officials, some of our business people to spread misinformation, and all I'm saying is that there is truth and the interpretation of truth, because I can tell you what I quote unquote understood, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. Like Mac was sitting listening to the same sermon that I heard, and we heard two totally different things. Now, is what I heard going to negatively, and the way that I enact what I heard going to negatively impact the majority of the people in my community? I don't need I don't need to say my message, because it's going to hurt people. It's going to put us in a position, because if I'm saying something and the way that I'm saying it is going to cause negative impact, I might need to go back to the well and get a little bit more water. That's all I'm saying. And I think I want us to and we're about 40 minutes in. I want us to get through at least two more of these. And I think we got somebody coming on next week, but we're gonna revisit this. And before the end of May, we will have talked through these things, and we're gonna have the transcript from it. Because shout out to StreamYard, which is the platform that we use to produce Nightcap Knowledge. They have a text transcript that we can pull these words and these documents and then take them into Microsoft Word, Google Sheets, I mean a Google document or whatever. And we can then say these are the impact meters that we set for the podcast. Because man, we can do the graphic design stuff. We like, shout out to Kenosha that's chiming in the comments right now. Like, absolutely one of the greatest graphic designers, creative artists I've ever seen. And shout out to Howard Sanders for his 10x in the comments. Um, and for all 164 of y'all that's lurking on Twitter, we thank you too. Um, but we want to be able to be aesthetically pleasing, but also, man, like being able to create real impact in somebody's community has much more leg and length and space to run. They got that runway. When you can create change and help to facilitate that type of change, or help to facilitate empowerment, that alone provides somebody with the perseverance to not grow weary in well doing, which was the scripture for today. Um, that's how we measure impact. And the question that I want to ask us now, um, I got them over here on my other screen, Mac. I'm finna throw it up here, but as I'm throwing it up here, I'm gonna read it. Brainstorm ways to empower listeners to take action beyond listening. How can our podcast inspire tangible change or advocacy. And I think we've been talking about it all night, but I want us to really double down on this one.
So we just did it, and that's asking folks to do something to show that they are physically, um, active, like they want to get involved, and just by engaging by dropping certain things that you are asking in the comments, right? They do it a lot of times on all the other things about the with the text lines and stuff like that. But it's just like if we say, hey, um, we're looking for volunteers. We dropped the Mississippi Move link. If you would like to receive our newsletter and emails, um, you know, go sign up, and then you can see in real time on the link how many people actually signed up, and then we could thank them live and say, hey,
That's dope. I
or
like that.
we're gonna give away. We're gonna be doing some drawings to and then actually do some drawings, and then we come up with a process, a way that we can randomly select 3 people who signed up while we're actively on, and gift something, right? Um, I would say one thing I want us to do for us is to create a nightcapper T-shirt, right?
Okay.
That's something we already know how to do, right? So we can do that. If you want to be a nightcapper, if you want to, what does that mean, right? Um, so we can read, drink,
Is night.
sleep,
I
and
know
repeat.
we've been saying that, but is night capper like the best way for us to describe, the listeners and the
That's the name we got right now. That's what we got
yeah.
now. We got nightcappers, right? So that's the best. That's the best thing we got. What was the name of? I like radio. I'm a big fan of radio. I watch TV, but I like radio. I like radio. I like movies and shows about talk shows, radio. And there was I can't remember the name of it, but it was about a late night radio show. Um,
Okay.
and that was before we had so many different things to keep folks' attention, right, with internet and everything else. But folks would listen to the radio and they would call in, right? They'd be engaging,
I
especially folks
think
that
we could do a
working.
call in.
But I'm just trying to think of ways we can do that's more engaging, but people are able to talk about different topics, and you want folks to talk along with the topic what you had, but engaging. Um, do different things. We can do things that they did. What was that? Years ago when they first came out with something. You can have invite all the folks to a Mississippi Greek weekend meet and greet, or Mississippi Black Pages meet and greet if you're in a local area.
Yeah.
And if you're not in a local area, we might can have a screen on the wall with a camera, and you could tune in and be part of the festivities and party.
Yeah.
Um, I think that and just like right now with Freedom Summer, once we drop the information about Freedom Summer that's going and what parts are going to take place at Tougaloo, that's an ample opportunity for folks that are listening to the work that we are talking about to say physically, can you spare this time, right? And we can connect because most folks associate Mississippi with the Delta. So we will reach out to one of our partners in the Delta and have something where we can take a trip and you can see the Mississippi Delta, you can see Jackson, you can see Tougaloo, and that's a lot of history in those just 3 locations that we are talking about. Jackson has a separate history of the civil rights movement than Tougaloo, and vice versa. But then you also have the Delta area, and especially certain areas. Each area got its own story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and triumph and tragedy. And we can set that type of thing up for folks that really want to get engaged. That is really about their life, right? You really want to go out here and like, I want to know. I heard somebody said in this. Okay, well, understand Mississippi heat is a beast. So when you talk about going to these communities and neighborhoods, knocking on doors and hitting this area, even if you're doing community festivals or in the park, understand. Last year we had triple digits for over 2 months,
Yeah.
and we still had outdoor events. So, but the show must go on, and we got to continue to do what we got to do. My freedom, my vote. Your vote is connected to your freedom. Your freedom is connected to your vote. And the work you're doing, uh, the work we did is what helped birth this podcast to be able to reach more people and stay connected to folks in a time which it was hard to be around each other physically, which was when COVID first hit. Um, so educating folks, you know.
So let me ask this:
Mhm.
who are people that we want to have as partners? Organizations or individuals?
Same energy.
Same energy. Who are those folks? Like, who are some people that you've seen? You like,
Well, I mean,
we
just
need
give
to
an
get with them.
example. Well, the folks that we already working with, like Dr. Sandra Melvin with Institute, right? Nishambi with One Voice. There are some other people we see that are moving. That hey, you know what? I want to connect to them, right? You want to reach out to them and learn more about what they're doing because you know what? I can see us doing some stuff together, right?
Right.
Um, and I think we each one of us see something different, or somebody like you know what? I want to reach out to them and just brainstorming, um, you know, and it's hard to describe it without calling because we're not dropping the information yet, right? So because these are actual plans of stuff that we recently talked about of folks we want to
Well,
partner with.
think about talk from the podcast, and not just from like the Mississippi Move perspective, but think about
Uh,
specifically the podcast. It might be a
podcast.
beverage sponsor.
I would like to. I would like to connect with some of the folks that are making some moves with local, business that's kind of catching, and just like the brother from with the suit with the clothing line, right? We want to be able to bring him
Hariaki.
on and Hideaki, bring him on, talk to him. But also for in the podcast, I would like to be able to connect with Cheryl, get Cheryl to come on the podcast and share our audiences, connect our audiences. I
Yeah.
wish we could get the clearance we needed so we could start back to highlighting our local artists and their music because that was something that was really fun and they really, really liked it. They
So
really liked it.
this is what we could do on that front. I think one, well, let me say this. We need to start shooting our shot continuously and without ceasing. Whoever we want, we jump into their DM. We say, "Hey, how you doing? This what we doing. We'd love to have you." If they come on, they come on. If they don't, they don't. All right, that's one. I think we have to better utilize Twitch. We can talk about and I think what we'll do, I'm going to drop my Twitch in the comments and see if we can drive some people over to Twitch and we'll cut the show early here, like on Facebook, on YouTube and all of that. We'll cut the stream early on those platforms, and then we will see if we can push everybody over to Twitch. Then on Twitch, we can play the music. We can play the music there. So now I dropped that Twitch in the comments, and because most of us aren't necessarily engaging with Twitch, I never took the time to create a Nightcap Knowledge Twitch. Like we stream every week on there, but on Twitch, the episode disappears after a week. So stream live, you can go, you can whoever you follow, whoever you're consuming on Twitch, you can go, you can look, you can listen. Because I catch a lot of the DJ Jazzy Jeff streams on Twitch. Um, so there's no copyright infringement there. Um, and we could play the music, so it could be like, hey, this is gonna be the last segment of the show. And with me having my computer and everything plugged into what we got going on, I can play music. So um if you're ready to test this out live, what you think?
I think I'm down. We all right, and we can jump over to Twitch. The question is, what artist? Pick artist. Pick artist.
Stephanie, Alvin, Dollar Black, and
Okay.
Tricky.
I'm trying to think of somebody. Dear Silas.
And Dear Silas, yeah.
You got what's his latest song?
And I haven't listened to it, so I get it pulled up.
All right. We're gonna still do we're going to Money Reside, and we're going over. All right.
Money Reside. Meet us on Twitch. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Wait.
Get to where the money reside, and we definitely want to invite you to where the Boots and Blues will reside. 24th of May, Mississippi Move and Shield Corvette Club of Mississippi will be at the outlets of Mississippi, 5 to 9 p.m. in the food court, Boots and Blues. Also, Black Men Matter, uplifting and educating and healing Black men in Mississippi. The Black Men's Health Equity Conference will go down June 29th. That's a Saturday. It will be at the Hilton Jackson. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all over on Twitch.
Wait.
What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside.